again for joining today. I am Ryan Neiman, Fantasy Sports U here. We have a very special guest today of Suzanne Casamento, founder of Fantasy Dating, will be joining us talking about the different aspects of dating. And I know there's a lot of single listeners out there right now, so definitely a great segment for all of you. Again, I am Ryan Neiman. Follow us on Twitter at FantasyUSports. Catch our articles at fsportsu.com for all of your fantasy sports update. Last night, a huge story in college basketball. We previously had two undefeated teams left standing, Wichita State and Syracuse, heading into last night, but now we only have one.
To have a three. 11 seconds to go. They're out of timeouts. Ennis off to Cooney. Cooney for the tie. Short. Ennis has it. 3 seconds to go. Boston College with Ryan Anderson throwing it to the heavens as all of their prayers answered at the Carrier Dome. And Syracuse is undefeated no more.
Syracuse suffered their first loss of the season against Boston College at the final score of 62-59. The Orange falls at 25-1. It was a complete stunner, as Boston College had a record of 6-18 going into the game, and this is actually their first victory against a number one ranked team since their 2008 and 2009 season. Wichita State is now the lone undefeated team as they defeated Loyola last night to remain 28-0. It's going to be very exciting when the conference tournaments do happen and if they can keep their perfect season alive heading into the NCAA tournament. As I mentioned today, we have a very special guest. Usually when I talk on the sports program, it's about fantasy sports. However, did you know that there is a thing that's called fantasy dating? Suzanne Casamento, founder of the Fantasy Dating, is joining us right now to talk about a different side of fantasy sports that you likely did not know that existed. Thanks for joining us today, Susan.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks so much for having me.
So this is a topic that I think all of our listeners should definitely learn about of your program. What is fantasy dating?
Well, fantasy dating works a lot like other fantasy sports in that people get together and they create leagues and they set stakes and then they compete against each other to earn points. But they earn the points by dating.
So it's definitely a great way to compete against each other, for especially amongst my single friends that we struggle every single day finding another companion.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the competition kind of, it takes it to a new level. It makes it fun, takes the fear out of approaching people and talking to people, and, you know, you get to talk smack, you get to do all the things that you get to do with other fantasy sports, and at the same time, it's sort of like, as you're playing the game, oh, you happen to be dating. Yeah. It's like a side effect.
Well, can anybody play this game? Who's this recommended for?
Yes, anyone can play this game, 18 and over, and it's great for everyone because really you play the game everywhere you go. So the game is on all the time.
I wish I had this during my college years because I would have been great at this game, but I think I'm past my prime, maybe.
I doubt that.
Now, how does this fantasy dating work for the website?
Well, it's really simple. You go to fantasydatinggame.com and you sign up, and, you know, we don't ask you for a lot of stuff. It's free, too. And you create a player profile, and then you can either start a league or you can join an existing league, which is really cool because, like, if you're in a situation where all of your friends are married and they have babies and they can't go out and you don't have a wingman, you can meet someone on fantasydatinggame.com and you can actually, you know, make new friends and play with new people, which is really cool. It's a friend finder in that aspect.
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
I feel like that's been the biggest obstacle that I've been facing. And probably a lot of my friends, too, is we don't have the outlet, really, to meet single folks. And this seems like a great idea to find the single people out there.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great way to meet other singles in your area, or you could play with someone on a virtual league, too. You don't necessarily have to be in the same city. There's no reason why, if you're in the Midwest, why you couldn't play on my league on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
But what's great about it is that it also, it makes you a little less reliant on going out with your friends to meet people. The idea is to sort of work your routine, to work your game. So it kind of means like, talk to that person next to you in line at Starbucks and chat up the person with the collie at the dog park, and just start conversations, become a little bit more aware, because the thing is, there's singles everywhere.
Yep.
Not necessarily out at bars.
Yeah, that's the problem. A lot of people feel that the norm to meet somebody is unfortunately at a bar, where I've never had any luck at bars, to be honest. So this is a great outlet for a different place to meet somebody.
Yeah, I think so too. It really encourages people to be aware of everyone around them, and I agree with you. There are many people who are not comfortable going to a bar and hoping they meet someone. First of all, it's not economically.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money to go out, and hope that maybe you're going to meet somebody. And also, it's not that effective. So The goal is to really just take a look around.
I've gotten scammed way too many times at bars where they tell me to buy them drinks and then they disappear right after. So,
that's awful.
That's the life of me right now. What is the ultimate goal of fantasy dating?
Well, the ultimate goal is to actually drop out because you find love. So it's like the one game where when you lose, you win.
Yeah. Definitely sounds like you gotta be proactive. Go out there, meet new people, which a lot of people are afraid of because they don't have the outlets, like you said.
Well, sure. And there's that rejection factor. I think that's what people are really afraid of.
Yes.
So it can be scary because it's like, well, what if the person doesn't like me, or what if that person doesn't respond well, or what if that person ignores me? Well, then, you know what? That just means that's not the person for you, and just move on. If you don't try, if you don't ask the question, the answer is always no. So you just have to take some chances.
So would you say this is definitely a tool for a confidence booster then?
I'm sorry, a tool for what?
For building a person's confidence.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It's amazing. It's amazing how, we'll have people sign up and say, I'm too shy, and I can't approach anyone, and that's not me. And by the end of the season, they're flirting and making eye contact and smiling and saying hi to everyone everywhere they go. It's amazing. They should feel great.
How did you come up with this amazing idea?
I came up with the idea because I got tired of my girlfriends complaining over and over, we're never going to meet anyone, and there are no good guys in L.A. And we live in L.A. There are 9 million people there. You can't tell me that none of them are good guys,
Uh-huh.
And that excuse is rampant.
Yep.
We use that excuse all the time, and that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
There are good guys everywhere. So I challenged them. It was one night we were doing the same thing over and over. We would go to the same bar and sit at the same table and order the same Chardonnay, and then wonder why no one came up and approached. So yeah. So I finally said, well, just go up. It's not that hard. Say hi.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, we can't do that. And I said, well, what if I dared you? And then I thought, and that's when I had like the light bulb moment. How could I turn this into a dare? How could I turn this into some sort of competition? And it came right then. And so we tried it. And in 10 weeks, my girlfriends went on more dates than they had gone on in the previous 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And one of them met the guy she married.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So Would that be part of your success story with this whole fantasy dating?
Absolutely. Definitely. She's definitely a success story. And so from there, I just realized, wow, this is an opportunity to help people everywhere. This isn't just about me and my girlfriend. People are going through this all over the world. So I decided to develop the website, and it's been great so far.
What other success stories have you had with this website?
I just got notification from someone who actually was on a league in Sweden. They were the Blonde and Strong League, and she just got engaged last week. And she said that had she not fantasy dated, she never ever would have met her fiance. So that was really exciting. And beyond that, it's been a lot of reports of people just really breaking through shyness. There was one girl who met a guy at the gas station. Like pumping gas, and then they ended up going out for drinks. And then there was a single mom who was, she met a guy at her son's t-ball practice, and she had been like eyeing him for months. She was too nervous to go up to him, and when she signed up on Fantasy Dating, she had the guts to go up and walk up and say, you know, hey, which one's yours? And dated for months. And so it's kind of, you know, the range is huge, but which is kind of cool because the game, the success, depending on who you are and where you are, you know, like if you're really shy, and it's a huge deal for you to talk to someone you don't know or approach a stranger, then meeting someone at a gas station and going on a date is huge.
Definitely. Like
ridiculously huge. So it really depends on where you are personally, but it's kind of cool because that way everybody wins, you know?
Definitely. It sounds like when I'm with friends or just by myself, you see somebody that's attractive at a bar, at a store, wherever, but you're reluctant to go up to them. And when you walk away, you're kicking yourself in the butt because, like, oh, why didn't I go up to them? So it is definitely a great tool to use to motivate yourself to go up to somebody.
Absolutely. It's so funny that you bring that up. You know, Craigslist has a section. It's called Misconnections, and people write in, and they write in things like, saw you at Macy's on Saturday. You wore a blue dress. I was in jeans and a brown jacket. We chatted a bit by the shoes, and I didn't get your number. And if you see this, please contact me. You know, and there are like thousands of these.
I think I wrote that one.
That's awesome. But there are like thousands of these misconnections. So Craigslist did a study, and they trying to figure out where the most misconnections were all over the United States, and they were at Walmart.
Really? I would not expect my future loved one would be at Walmart.
Can you imagine? Like, it makes so much sense because, you know, a lot of the Walmarts are superstores, grocery stores, and of course, we're all at the grocery store. I mean, I even have a grocery store story from like 6 years ago where I remember talking to a guy at a grocery store and walking out going, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't get his number. I can't believe I didn't get his number. You know, those things haunt you.
Oh, yeah. I've been there numerous times.
Right?
Yes.
When you play this game, you'll never miss a connection again. Ever.
There are millions, or not millions, just like a lot of dating websites out there. How is fantasy dating game different from online dating?
Well, because it doesn't happen online, you know, it happens in real life. So the goal is to play the game everywhere you go and really pay attention to the people who are around you. That's not to say that we don't encourage online dating. Mm-hmm. If you want to use a dating tool, whether it's speed dating, online dating, matchmaking, you know, whatever, yes, use it. You know, anything to get out there and play the game and earn your points. We don't care how you earn them as long as you get off the couch. Mm-hmm. But it's completely different in that it's really more about taking the game offline instead of, you know, finding love offline rather than online.
Yeah, I feel face-to-face is more personal. I mean, there are great ways of doing online dating, but this feels like you're doing more face-to-face and you're approaching them as opposed to just sending them a message online.
Absolutely. Yes, and there's a huge difference because it's not so much that you can really see the person. I mean, that is part of it, and especially for people who are visual and are very concerned about what a person looks like, but you can feel an energy, which you can't really feel online.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a connection can be laughing over, something you see on the street, and then you realize, oh, I'm laughing with this person, and,
Yes.
So, yeah, it's a totally different kind of connection. I agree with you.
Now you're going to hear a lot of complaints of people saying, oh, all my friends have boyfriends or girlfriends. All my friends are married. What if you don't have a single friend to play with? Is this going to hamper your production on this website?
No, not at all. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you can go onto the site and we have a zip code finder, so you can put in your zip code and you can either meet people in your area who are already playing the game, or you can join a virtual league and compete against them.
Mm.
But what's really great about the game is that you really do play it on your own. It happens on the subway on your morning commute. It happens at the grocery store. It happens at church. It happens at the gym or wherever you're exercising, or at the park or the beach, or and so you don't necessarily need someone to go out with because it's happening, when you're out and about.
Now you have encounters literally 24/7, depending where you're at, with the opposite sex. So it's very easy to approach somebody.
Yes.
And when you're playing this game, how do you know that players aren't cheating?
Well, we haven't had any circumstances of anyone cheating yet, and I guess it's because it's really not logical. The game only works if you work it. The ultimate goal is to drop out and find love.
Mm-hmm.
And, going on the website on a Sunday morning and saying you post and posting 62 points for the night before isn't going to help you get closer to your goal. So people just don't do it, which is great because it is an honor system, and we do trust the players to only approach people that they are genuinely interested in. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be about really finding love. You can't just walk up to random people and start hitting on them because that's not fair to them and it's not fair to you. And also to post points that you genuinely earned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How do you hope to see that FantasyDatingGame.com be developed?
Well, it's actually going in lots of directions, which is super cool. It's been really fun. We've had a lot of people play from all over the world, which is great. And I just finished writing a book, it's actually a workbook, which is really filled with exercises, and it's filled with all kinds of strategies and ways to be more approachable, to understand why you date the way you date or don't date at all, and what's really happening, and how to work through all of those things. So that's coming out soon, and we're also developing a fantasy dating reality show. So it's definitely exciting. It's an exciting time. It's definitely catching on.
Yeah, it sounds like an absolutely great idea for people who are struggling to get out there, find that loved one, or just go on a date. So it sounds like all you listeners out there, go to FantasyDatingGame.com and get on here quickly and find that match made in heaven for you. And before we let you go, everyone wants some dating tips to figure out how can they approach somebody or just any type of tips. Why do you think so many people struggle to find that special one? And what does your website do to achieve this?
Well, I think that, like we mentioned earlier, that most people struggle to find the right one because they're afraid. Unfortunately, there's a lot of fear that comes along with the idea of maybe getting rejected. What if he doesn't like me? What if he doesn't want to go out with me? What if he laughs at me? Things like that. Mm-hmm. And those are all very real and all very scary. But the bottom line is if you don't try, how will you know?
Yes.
So what's great about this game is that if you take little baby steps, and you just start with something small, start with making eye contact with someone and smiling, start with dropping a hint, start with the little things.
Mm-hmm.
The more you do that, the more you practice, the more confident you feel. And the more confident you feel, the more chances you take. And the more chances you take, the less it bugs you.
Yes.
It doesn't bug you if someone isn't into it. For example, if I walk up to a guy and say, hi, I'm Suzanne, it's nice to meet you, how you doing? And he doesn't respond well or at all, I don't want to go out with that guy.
No, not at all.
So, okay, good. We've crossed him off the list. So, in a way, it's not as scary as it seems. And I think that once people give it a try, they learn that.
I feel like this would definitely be a way to make them less tense in these type of situations, because at first for dating or just approaching somebody, it's just awkward in general because you don't know anything about them. And I feel like this would be a great step to approach somebody in an easier way.
Mm-hmm.
And what are your key dating tips that you have for all the singles out there that are listening right now?
I think the first thing you need to do is drop a hint. The person, if you're interested in someone and you're worried, because everyone's worried, there's a little fear, well, what if he doesn't like me, what if she doesn't like me? Drop a hint. So, and by that I mean get caught looking. Glance over at the person, glance away. Make eye contact, give a smile. Let that person know that you're noticing them. Let that person know that you're interested. If that person, doesn't turn away from you, if that person doesn't walk away, okay, take that as okay, this is safe. All right, maybe I'll say something. And then when it's time to say something obvious. If you're in a department store, say, do you like this shirt? Do you think this color looks okay? Use a prop.
Yes.
Anything that's around you. If you're at a restaurant, ask, how's that burger? Just ask a question. It doesn't have to be, some crazy pickup line. Those are not effective and awkward. Or give a compliment, a simple compliment, like, hey, I really like your hat. Where'd you get that?
Mm-hmm. So the stalker approach would not be a good idea.
Which approach? I'm sorry.
The stalker approach.
No. Yeah, let me clarify. When I say get caught looking, I don't mean give the creepy stare.
That's what I see at bars. You see a lot of guys just stare down a girl like they're going to go after and attack her. So definitely not a good idea, but...
No. Just a hint. A little something subtle.
Well, thank you again. This has been Suzanne Casamento, the founder of Fantasy Dating. And where can they follow you on Twitter and your website too?
Sure, the website is fantasydatinggame.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Daters. And we're also on Facebook at Fantasy Dating and Google Plus and all over. We're just everywhere. Just look it up.
All right, awesome. Hopefully this helps out those single listeners out there and myself. I'll definitely look to join it today, and hopefully I don't find a relative on there that's trying to stalk me on there.
Well, we'd love to have you. Thank you so much, and I appreciate the time.
All right, thanks again. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye. That has been Suzanne Casamento, the founder of the Fantasy Dating website. As she said, go to fantasydating.com and follow her on Twitter at Fantasy Daters for all the updates for dating tips and to where to join that website. Just a great idea. I know personally that I seem to struggle in different environments, trying to approach women. Definitely a great motivator to go out there, to not be scared, to finally make that approach and make it a competition amongst you and your friends. Just a great idea for that. Well, this has been another segment of Fantasy Sports U. I am Ryan Neiman. Follow us on Twitter at FantasySports. For all you single listeners out there, go to the website fantasydatinggame.com right now. Find that loved one and have yourself a good week.
Need to move something, you can use my truck. He's an overtime worker when the bills pile up. Everybody knows he ain't just tough. He's strong. Strong. He'll pick you up and won't let you down. Rock solid inside out. Somebody you can trust. Steady as the sun. Ain't nothing gonna knock him out.